songs are flowing out like endless rain into our paper cups. They slither wildly as they make their way across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through our open minds, possessing and caressing us. Jai Guru Deva. Oh, imagine we can change our world. Oh yes, imagine we can change our world. Oh yes, imagine we can change our world. Imagine we can change our world. Sounds of laughter, shades of earth are ringing through our opened ears, enticing and inviting us. And limitless, undying love shines around us like a million suns, calls us on and on and on. Jai Guru Deva. Oh, nothing's gonna change our world. Is that true? Imagine we can change our world more like it. Imagine we can change our world. Imagine we can change our world. Sing it with us. Jai Guru Deva. Sing it out. Jai Guru Deva. So beautiful. Jai Guru Deva. Jai Guru Deva. Keep singing. Jai Guru Deva. Jai Guru Deva. Jai Guru Deva. The teacher within us sings. Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva. Sing it out. Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva. Sing it out. Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva. Sing it out. Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva. Jai. Give it up to the man in the confessional. Jai, 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 Jai. Sing it out. Jai, 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 Jai. Sing it out. Jai, Jai, Jai.
kids, church, we're going long. We're going long. That sounds like a football term, doesn't it? We're going long. CDs are available, and also other merchandise in the corner that Rafe brought with him, so check that out, because traveling minstrels get to be supported by those people that they inspire. Right now I want to present 3 talks. Woven together, hopefully. I mean, that's the intention. It seemed to work out first service by the grace of God. See, in that first Sunday here together, there are 3 things that are really on my mind and on my heart, brought together by 3 ideas. The first one is that I want to remind us all of the story that we've been living in. We've been living in a story. Great spiritual masters, great spiritual works were stories that people read and reread, because there will always be a time that you live in that story. You just live in it. So we could take the Bhagavad Gita, and we've lived in that story. I could take the Ramayana, and we've lived in that story. But most of us are influenced by what we call the Bible, which just means a bunch of books. And we have been living in the story of Exodus, where, like the children of Israel, we left a place that I love, Egypt. Oh yeah, I'm in. But they were in bondage. We lived in a beautiful place, but we were in bondage. We had too big a mortgage. And so we let that go. And then we acquired this property, but there was things to do. The people needed to move out. We needed to make it our own. And so we were in the Sinai before we could go to our promised property. And the Sinai was really nice. It was right by a lake. It was a lake. It was gorgeous. It had windows. It was nice, but it was not ours. See, we've all been in places that were good, but they weren't ours. How many of you have been to a beautiful bed and breakfast, and you loved it, and there was gorgeous view, but it wasn't yours, so you couldn't really settle? And you knew you were in your suitcases, and you were going to have to pack up and leave again. Well, that was kind of the way that we were living. And there's so much to say about being here, but this feels like promised property. When the real estate agent sent us a flyer, and I saw a flyer of this property, I knew it was ours. And I'd say about 12 of us came to look at it. It did not say peace and grace and things on the wall. Oh, by the way, if any of you are Presbyterians, but you're in the middle and you're scared to leave, because you came to your old church and you're going, I'm sorry. Must be a shock. But we love you, and you might love it. But anyway, I remember moving in, seeing this place, and knowing even more than I knew when I saw the flyer, this is our place. Just as Moses looked over into a green valley and said, this is the place we're going to. I knew that. And I'm so grateful that we had a beautiful tent called the Mountaineers to inhabit for a while we were waiting for this. And I'm grateful that we're here, and besides that, I just want to give us really a lot of credit, because the children of Israel wandered for 40 years. We only did 7 months. Yay us. Second thing that I want to draw to your attention is that the theme for this month was love and stewarding the earth. And that theme was appropriate because last Monday was Earth Day. And stewarding or stewardship means to care for and manage something. But if we go for a biblical terminology for that, the biblical reason for the biblical, and oh, by the way, why would I get biblical? Because there is a biblical definition of stewardship. And I'm not all, I do study a lot. I mean, I have not read fiction since Harry Potter was over. It's a long time, and I read a lot. But I have to give credit to Google for this. Google says that the biblical definition of stewardship is utilizing and managing all resources of God for the glory of God and the betterment of God's creation. And then it goes on to say the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. So stewardship of this earth is to use all that the earth has given us for the betterment of the earth and everything on it. That's stewardship. And then the title for today, it seemed appropriate, is Everything New, because this is a new opportunity. We're here newly for the first time. Now, you may have come to the wonderful Good Friday service. You may have come to other things. You may have been part of a blessing if you're one of our prayer practitioners. You may have come to an open house. But this is the first time we are doing a weekend service here. This is new for us. And so it's an opportunity to have a new gathering. And it's always, something new is always appropriate for the new year, but as Meister Eckhart said, God is always in the beginning. God is always in the beginning. It's always creating a newly. It's always creating newly. And what I've noticed is that quantum physics is now confirming what the mystics from all traditions have been saying for a very long time. Because Meister Eckhart had the revelation that God is always creating. It's always creating. It's always creating. Quantum physics, there's a theory that says the universe is blinking on and off. And the only reason it blinks on like it blinked off is the thought that was going on when it blinked off. Change your thinking might even change the universe. By the way, Meister Eckhart was one of the few educated men in the Dark Ages. And when more people got educated and knew what he was really writing, about 200 years after he died, they excommunicated him. Which always, just to me it's this great joke, that human beings thought that by signing a piece of paper, someone was going to go into heaven and say, oh, excuse me. Like, who was going to have that job? I don't know of any angel that would have signed up for that. But anyway, that's just human beings. We're so funny. We're so funny. We actually think we can direct heaven. That's so funny. Jeez. Unfortunately, even though the universe is blinking on and off and that God is always in the beginning, oftentimes human beings create out of what happened back then instead of what's possible now. Many people fix the past. Well, they can't, which is why we're so frustrated. Human beings try to fix the past instead of acknowledging what's going on and creating a different future. And we can do that when we know that we can do everything new. So those are the three things that I want to wrap together. Let's start with new. When the children of Israel moved into their new home, they got to figure out how they were going to do things in a new way. According to people who analyze the Exodus story as our story, they had to have a new identity because they'd had an identity as slaves and as being subject to and burdened and no real life. And they had 40 years. It took 40 years for them to change their identity so that they could go into the land and be owners of it. It took a while to go from one identity to the next identity because no one came along and said, you can just be new. They were still talking about what happened. And they would go to oases. God was giving them manna, for goodness sakes. And they were saying, but that making that hay out, that's hay into straw bricks was just really a good time. Anyway, how many saw it was a comic that showed up somewhere where it said, this is how our parents went to school, and these kids trudging uphill in the snow. It's like there's a tendency to talk about what was, and they did it too. But you have to change your identity because you can identify with what people told you and what you came to believe about yourself, or you can identify with what you choose to identify with. See, they were no longer slaves, and they no longer had to move from oasis to oasis and set up and take down. What's that sound like? But they didn't see themselves as owning something yet. Owning it. So here's a process that I want to share with each one of you, for you, because this talk has always got to be about you. I always want you to leave here with something that you can use. And I want us to have this beautiful place with this beautiful consciousness and the music that's been in the room and the consciousness that has been elevated in us. And I'd love for you to take this time to ask yourself how you want to define yourself from now on. Because we do define ourselves. I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm an Aries. I pull that out every time I want to. How many of us pull out definitions when we want to? So you can also, if everything's new, you can create a new definition. Why don't you just stay after me? I'm starting something new. And that new can be the identity, because who you say you are is what you're going to experience. It's not what we think, it's what we think we are that creates our experience. So I'm willing to go out on a limb, because I'm going to give you an opportunity to recreate yourself in this room, and you're going to say it out loud. Ooh! But don't worry. Nobody will be listening because everybody's going to be so afraid that somebody's going to hear them that they can't hear you. And if we all say it out loud together, no one can hear you. Does that make sense? So I want you to try this. So you're going to say, I am, and you're going to just put it out there. Wait, no, don't yet. Because somebody will hear you. We got to do it all at the same time. It's got to be orchestrated. In a moment, you're going to say, I'm starting something new, and then you're going to say, I am. How many of you know what you want to be that's new? Oh, I love second service. Who are the people that come to first service? Either they are enlightened, which, oh my God, that might be it. They're already angels and so elevated, I should be, like amazed. First service, maybe 10% raised their hand the first time. Wouldn't you say that? Who was looking? No one's looking. You all had your back to them. And it's like, what? I had to talk it into it. But you're so ready. Okay, that's it. They opened the gate of consciousness, and now you're just walking in easy. So you should just be grateful for first service, making it so easy for you. That's what you should do. When you see them leaving, you should go, thank you very much. Can't wait to go in and see what you created for me. That's it. That's it. Now, I guess I don't have to do this, but I will, just because I embarrassed myself once. Why not twice? So to prime the pump so that they'd be more willing to say what was going on for them, I told the truth. It sometimes shows up as shyness. It sometimes shows up as aloofness and coolness. Because I am a very high introvert. And people see me, and I seem energetic, but I know how many hours it was for me to recharge so that I could give this energy. And then when it's gone, I actually feel depleted. And sometimes I have to go because there's no more chi left in the body. But what I realized is that was according to Myers-Briggs. And my God is bigger than Myers-Briggs. And that all happened first service because they didn't raise their hands. So here's the deal. I'm creating something new. And my energy and my passion is limitless. because I am a child of an infinite God. Yeah. That's the truth. Now, you need to be as courageous. How have you identified yourself in a way that kept you from expressing your full self? And what new identity do you want? See, I did raise the bar a bit. See, I actually could pull out my test results. Who could argue? It's psychologically scientific. Or I could not be that test. It's important. A woman after first service came up to me and she said, I'm so grateful you did what you did, because I too have been telling myself that I'm shy and that I'm reserved, and therefore it's very difficult for me to meet men. And she pulled out these cards out of her bra. She says, I even keep these cards in my bra, so that if I meet somebody I like, I can give them my card with my name on it and my phone number, but I'm afraid to just go in there and pull one out. And she said, I'm not afraid anymore. And may I just say, she was a beautiful, tall drink of water that shouldn't have been afraid. She made that stuff up. What do you make up? Now's the time for everything new. So let's say it together. Wait a second. It's got to say it all at the same time so it's all invisible. We're going to start with, I'm starting something new. I'm starting something new. Now you're going to say who you really are. Yay! Didn't that feel better? And those of you watching, if you're really brave, you can put it on the live stream comments underneath, and I'll read them later. We all will. All right. Now let's go to loving the earth, because it is our theme for the month. Now, I need to tell you what I know. I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm not going to tell you what I believe. I absolutely have gone from believing to knowing it. You do not have to accept it. You don't have to agree with it. You can think it's a bunch of hooey. I don't really care. But I got to tell you what I believe. I believe that the earth is alive and she is conscious. I always had that a niggle in the background, but then I started working with Benito, a shaman from Peru, and he would say, Pachamama give you anything. Pachamama gives us everything. He lives at 16,000 feet. The only way they survive is that Pachamama takes care of them. He woke that up in me. The Andean tradition of Aini, which is circulation, that if you take, you must give. And what's happening is we're taking from the earth and we're not giving back to her. It's so out of balance. Benito said about my husband, Pachamama pleased with you. And here's what my husband says when he sees the fires and the earthquakes and the storms. Pachamama is pissed. That was sort of a cussing word, but still. I'm quoting someone else. I've been on 4 retreats so far this year, all of them for the Center for Spiritual Living, working with people. In the last 2, and by the way, I want to say something about retreats. You can't go and come back from a retreat and not be different, because even if you take a class, even if you do your spiritual practice, you're still inundated by the world. So therefore, you do an hour worth of spiritual practice, which is not bad, it's better than nothing. But there's something about spending 4 days with other people with a similar focus that will change you at depth more than you could ever possibly do on your own in years. Ever. And the last 2 spiritual retreats that I took people on, I was doing crazy stuff like saying, oh, you want to know something? Go ask a tree. I sent people out to ask trees things. And the trees were talking. They had stuff to say. And I could have told them that. But it wouldn't have been as important, and it wasn't as real as when the tree said it. The earth talks. She wants us to know who she is and that we're loved and that everything that we want is available to us. And she also wants to be loved and appreciated. There's not much we have to do. We just have to walk the earth with reverence. On Earth Day, on my Facebook page, I said, just touch the earth and bless her. She just wants acknowledgement. And we haven't. No, we have. We haven't. And those who are conscious and awake need to do it more because there's too many people that aren't conscious and awake. And what will happen is she will feel it and balance herself because she is alive and she's conscious and she's capable of righting all things. She is capable. Too many spiritual people want heaven. Ernest Holmes said some people are so otherworldly they're no good on earth. Or no, they're no earthly good is what he said. So use the ideas and make sure that they're blessing the earth as well. So we've done some sneaky stuff. I noticed that at the end of March, our property was getting really dry, even though we'd had snow, lots of snow. And rain, the trees are drier than they should be. The underbrush is drier than they should be. And I was frankly afraid. So I asked my prayer practitioner class if they would bless someplace on this property, and they would give a liquid blessing. They were supposed to give their favorite drink to the earth. Whatever that favorite drink was. See, if you give something you love. Don't just give, something that's available. It's like, what do you love? What do you appreciate? She'll know that. And so they gave this liquid, and did you notice the rain that happened the 1st of April? You can thank them. And if you didn't like them, thank them anyway. Because we needed that rain. Oh, by the way, you may say that's a coincidence. Rain wasn't in the forecast. So you have the ability to bless the earth. You have the ability to touch it and say, thank you, Mama. You have the ability, Tim and I sometimes have despachos, which is a shamanic ritual where we offer things to the earth. And we should all be doing it. And get over the idea that you have to go through a training to do it. Nobody trained me. I just made myself one. Make yourself a shaman. Make yourself a holy person. Say that when I walk the earth is blessed, and it will be. We are so amazing. We are heaven come to earth, and we're just like piddling around like, oh, it's just little old me. No, it's not little old you. It's big old you. I'm excited. If we were all blessing the earth, I can't even imagine how happy she'd be right now. So, we're blessing the earth. You are a shaman, you are a holy person because you were born that way. Nobody can take it away from you. Just acknowledge it. That's your new identity. I'm a holy person. You don't have to take 3 years of classes, although it's nice when you do. But that's just to give you more confidence. You started out holy. Then, now, I wanted the third idea. How loving the planet Earth we can take that to an even greater level. So we want to start something new. We want to love the earth, and now we want to bring it up a notch. Here's what I've noticed. As children of the universe, we've been messy in our room or planet. There's garbage, there's plastic, there's CO2 emissions, and it's kind of gotten out of hand. And it scares me because I want to know how to turn these things around. How do I turn them around? How do we turn them around? I actually created a wisdom card and drew it recently and put it on my Facebook page, and it said this: you are inventive. You can invent original ways to do things, original ways to act. God makes new things through you. And then it was asked to affirm, God has given me a mind of invention. Let's say that. God has given me a mind of invention. We can invent things. So far, human beings have invented amazing things to do with plastic. I mean, we got too much of it. But the thing that I thought was most interesting is that there's a company that if it's public, I'm going to buy it. It's called Unify. And they've turned, last year alone, they turned 4 billion plastic bottles into clothing that included 400,000 graduation gowns. So we are finding, it's like, well, there's too much of this, so let's just use it for what we need. People are turning plastic into building blocks instead of mud bricks. We're doing stuff. It's important. It's powerful. We can do this. And we need to do more. Now, here's the process for doing that. You'll notice that it is happening on a global level. It can happen on an individual level, and it needs to happen even more because we're waking up, so we help people wake up. When you wake up, you accidentally nudge the person sleeping, and they kind of wake up. So the more we wake up, the more we wake up. So first of all, this is, I think, what has happened and what can happen. First of all, you wake up. You've heard about, they're woke. Well, that means they're paying attention. You're noticing what's happening. Now, people that are spiritual want to pretend some things aren't happening. Well, I'm just going to see the good. I'm just going to know the good. That's called a spiritual bypass. It's like, oh no, it's just all good. No, sometimes it's not. If a little dog came in here and pooped, it pooped. And the people in the front row would know it. They would see it, they would smell it. It's poop. You don't just know, I smell no poop. No, you smell poop. Wake up to what's happening. And decide if it's unacceptable. If it's unacceptable, it's unacceptable. Like, oh no, poop in the room is okay. No, it's not okay. If you're being abused, you're being abused. It's not okay. If there's discrimination and you know it and you're affected by it, it hurts you, it's not okay. It's not a spiritual bypass. It's being awake. In the gospel according to Thomas, Jesus says, if you can't see what's in front of your face, you'll never wake up. You have to see what's in front of your face. What's in front of us? So much. But don't get discouraged. That's why people black out and why they zone out and why they dummy down. It's because they don't think they can do anything. And then they go, it's all good. That's not spiritual. That's not bringing heaven to earth. So first of all, you wake up, then you decide, is it acceptable, unacceptable? And then you affirm that there must be a solution to that which is unacceptable. There must be a way for this to be righted. Why? Because in God there is all solution. In God is the opportunity to create something new. In God is a new beginning. We just have to affirm that we're part of it. And then we commit that we are a part of God's good idea, whether it's for the planet, for our family, for our community, for our spiritual center, for our life. We wake up, we decide what works and what doesn't work, we affirm that there must be a solution for what doesn't work, and we commit to being a part of God's plan to let that solution come out. And we let everything be new. There's a thing that I want to leave you with. I think this is a great time for me to just get over, this Myers-Briggs thing. Should have never read that. But more than that, I would like us to be different as a community. We're not setting up and taking down anymore. But that doesn't mean we don't need participation from our members. Actually, we need more because I want us to do more. I want us to be more loving, more inclusive. I want us to do more out in the community. I want us to have more people to say hello. I want us to have more people that are working with our youth. I want us to have more people that are opening their homes to having small groups. I want, instead of so much being done by a few, I'd like a little bit done by all of our members, so that people can come here and feel that they are included, they are embraced, they are acknowledged, and they're revered. That's the new church that I'd love to have. We're a new thought church. We should just be a new way of doing things church as well. I hope that you'll buy into that. Let's pray. So I just give thanks this day that we have an opportunity to claim newness. I give thanks that so many of us are claiming a new identity. We are claiming a new way of showing up in the world, not based on what we read, not based on a test we took, not based on what we were told, not based on how we acted or reacted in the past. We are allowing our new identity to be based on what we choose. What we say, I am. The most powerful words that we will ever speak are I am. And what follows is sacred. So I give thanks that we revere the I am this week, and we follow the I am with words that will lift us and bless others. And I give thanks that as a spiritual community, we are waking up to what we can all do to make this community heaven on earth, not just today, every day. Not just on Sunday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, every day. I am so grateful that in waking up, we find the power that was with us from the beginning. For I am, we are, always the beauty of the Most High. And we move from, if it is to be, it's up to me, to the new saying for this center. If it is to be, it's up to we. And so it is.